Hi, everybody. This is David Archibald. I'm the priest here at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church. And we decided as one of the ministries at the church to do some infomercials, really, and give out information about voting in the upcoming election. And it's not just that we're trying to be good citizens, but it also ties into our faith of being a Christian, because we think Jesus was trying to be as nonviolent as he could be. And voting is one of the ways in our country where we get to choose our leaders, and no one forces us to have our leaders. There's no force or violence involved, we hope. So voting is one of the ways to avoid clashes, and it's the way that our country can do things in a non-violent way. So today I'm here with Mike Gonzalez, and he's going to give us some information during our conversation about how to register to vote and how the voting process works, both the day of voting on November 3rd, and a little bit about how to vote early if we want to. Mike is kind of an expert at this. He's the leader, the judge, they call it, the presiding judge at a polling booth. So he knows lots of details about this. And if you want the other experts in our field, Aggie Graham did a video for us having to do with mail-in voting. That'll be in a separate video. And then Court Jackson, he teaches government at a local college. His video is going to be all about how to understand who we're voting for. Not the person, but the offices, like president or senator or judge. So today we're here with Mike. Thanks for being here, Mike. Appreciate it so much.
My pleasure being here. Just wanted to let everyone know that as far as qualifications, I've done elections for over 33 years, mostly as either an alternate or presiding judge in early voting and election day.
Wow, that's pretty interesting stuff. So you've done it a long time.
Absolutely.
And you told me that it does change. That's why you get trained every year or so, just to make sure you're up to date on the most current information.
As an alternate judge or presiding judge, we have to test by exam every 2 years to get certified and qualified to be in that position. We get issued a card that states that we are a presiding or alternate judge.
Well, I think the questions you're going to answer today are not as hard as the exam. So, for instance, who can vote? I mean, who is eligible to vote?
Any U.S. citizen that is at least 18 years of old by election day can register to vote.
So 18, mostly if you just got out of high school, you're in that age, you're eligible to vote. And almost everybody we're talking to is already a U.S. citizen. So that's a pretty broad field. So that's who's eligible. But of course, here's the thing. You do have to register and tell them that you want to vote. Like you have to be on the rolls so they know who voted, right?
Bexar County has a list of registered voters that are registered with the county itself. And for this county, it's actually over 1 million registered voters.
Holy
on the
Toledo.
rolls.
So there's 1 million voters just in our county alone. And so if you're 18 and you're a citizen, you got to turn in a little form to register to vote, right?
It's a voter registration form that is available by registering either with a certified voter registrar like Aggie Graham or myself, or you can pick an application form up from any library in the county, and also you can also download a form from online and print it, sign it, mail it in to the elections department.
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy.
So just to review there, you said there's 3 ways to register.
Yes.
You can get the form online. We have lots of websites we'll leave with you. But you get the form online, you can get it at the library, or you can get it from somebody like yourself and Aggie. And you guys, by the way, are going to be available to do some voter registration coming up probably later in September.
Correct.
So on Sunday. So if you come to church at the end of September, the first Sunday in October, you'll be able to register here with the official, the great Mike Gonzalez. Anyways, that's how you do it. So once you fill out the little form and mail it in, then essentially you'll be good to go, right? And they'll send you a card?
That is correct. They'll send you a voter registration card, imprinted with the precinct number that you belong to based on your address, an official voter, unique voter certification number. That's called, we call it a VUID, voter unique identification number. And it's imperative that all these applications for this coming election be in by October 5th.
Good. So October 5th, that's about a month away from the election, roughly. And we're trying to get people registered by that point because they got to get the list together. They got to do all that and make sure it's right. So you got about a month to register between now and, is it October?
October 13th is the beginning of early voting, all the way through October 30th, but election day is actually on November 3rd.
A lot of dates here, but you got about a month to register?
Yes.
Good. So when this video gets up, you'll have 30 days or so to get that thing in the mail. Okay, so now you registered to vote, you're 18 years old, you are a U.S. citizen, you sent your thing in, and now you're going to vote. And you said there's two different times you can vote, right? You can vote early, and
That is correct.
and then there's the final day when everyone's finally got to get your vote in by November 3rd. Why don't we start there and work backwards? So November 3rd, you go to the polling place. Where do you go?
The polling place, which are now called vote centers, are scattered throughout Bexar County based on precinct or precincts that they have to be able to get people to come in to vote. However, the law changed last year to where you can vote at any vote center on election day as opposed to just your own home precinct,
Oh, cool.
like it used to be a long time ago.
So the county's chopped up in little sections called precincts.
Right.
And you live in one of them if you live in the county. And every precinct has a voting center, so there's a lot of them around, right?
Yes.
And so we'll put at the end of the video, we'll say, well, if you want to find where to vote, we'll give everybody the exact locations. But if you live in the county and you live in a precinct, then there's one close to you. So you go to the precinct, which is like a library or something.
Well, sometimes they'll have locations in libraries or church annexes or buildings or county locations. It just depends on who wants to play host for that
Cool.
particular election. This last time I was at an elementary school, then I got moved to another elementary school because of the COVID situation, and some schools are not allowing anything like that going on now, but it all depends. And these things are in flux right now because of the COVID situation and whatever the commissioner's court decides.
Yeah, so by election day, they'll have figured out where everything
We will
is.
have it all done.
Cool.
Yes.
So that's going to vote the day of, and you go in there. What's it like when you walk in the building?
Walking into the building, the first thing would be to go to the registration area where you will present picture ID, a photo ID, an official required photo ID, Texas driver's license, military ID, passport, and the like. There's a list of them, and you can all find them on the website that we'll include at the end.
Well, that makes sense because you just registered your name. Now they've got your name on a list, and so you got to go prove that or show them, I'm David,
That's who you
I
are.
registered and I'd like to vote now. And they'll say, oh, here's your name. Good.
Correct.
So you checked in at the check-in desk basically, and then they're going to take you to a voting machine. What's that like?
Prior to that, after they find you on the list, you'll be issued a blank ballot card that gets imprinted with only your precinct number based on your address. They give that to you. You take that to the voting machine, which is called an express vote voting machine, and insert it following the directions.
It's like right around it's in the building, in the same room, right?
Same room, yes.
So you go check in, they give you a little thing that goes, and they take it to your voting machine, and you vote, right? And what's that like?
Once you insert it, it'll ask you for a language selection, and after that point, you can make your selections for any of the candidates that you want.
Cool.
Till the very end, where it asks you to print the ballot card with your selections.
So you told me before we got here, and I've voted before, but just to remind myself, it's like a little tiny computer. It's like a touch screen, right?
It's a touch screen and basically a word processor for the ballot card itself. And it doesn't record your vote, that just imprints the information that you can look at once you take it out of the machine.
Reminds me a little bit like going to a bank or something. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, you touch the screen like you would at a bank, or when you order off a menu these days, you can actually
Absolutely.
It's just like a touch screen. Go in there, pick your people, whoever you want to elect, and then it's going to print out a piece of paper.
You can review it after you
Yeah.
print it out and then put it into a counting
Great.
machine called a tabulator, yes.
That's all there is. You print.
That's it.
You go to the machine. It gives you. You vote. It gives you a piece of paper. You put the paper into a counting thing, and you're done.
It doesn't count until it goes into the counting machine.
That's right. It's not on the machine. Just you get a piece of paper, and you're good to go.
Absolutely.
So it's not too tricky.
No.
So the only difference is then if I want to vote early, we have all this time now. You don't have to get there on the 3rd. Suppose you're working or you're sick or you're going to be out of the area. You can actually do your voting before the final day, right?
Absolutely.
And you told me those dates are, what are they?
From this year, they're going to be from the 13th of October to the 30th of October. They extended it 6 extra days because of the COVID pandemic.
So because you need extra time now, because there might be a lot of people voting early.
Less crowding.
October 13th to the 30th, so you got like 2 weeks to vote.
Traditionally, on presidential elections, and I've seen plenty of them, people come out en masse.
Yeah.
So that means it's crowded. There's long lines and the like. So they've extended extra days so people can pick out the days that they want to go to instead
Excellent.
of at the last minute. A lot of people go in the last few days, and that's when it's most crowded, or on election day, and that's when it's most crowded.
So with all this extra time, there's going to be not too much trouble. You got so much time, plus the election day itself. You guys will be ready.
If people come prepared, they can get in and out quick. The biggest holdup in presidential elections is when they bring only their picture ID, because what we scan the back, the scan bar on it, but 50% of the driver's license do not have the information we need.
Uh-huh.
So guess what? We have to have that person wait while we hunt, pick, and choose from a big long list of stuff.
Yeah, you put
and
in
then
the
verify
address.
the information and all that other stuff.
That's the
Now,
big thing. Don't forget to bring your ID.
Well, bring your ID. But if you have your voter registration card, that's even faster, because there's a barcode on that one, scans up the information right away.
Super.
And the ID identifies who you are.
Makes it easy.
Makes it easier, quicker, faster. You don't have to wait in line with anybody and catch anybody else's whatever.
Excellent. Well, that's all the questions I had. It's not too complicated. You could give us more information, I know, but the basic idea is register in the next month, and then you can vote early or vote the day of. And if you vote early, there'll be precincts that are open or polling centers open, and then the day of, you can go to any place you want, and
Excellent.
And you can vote.
Exactly. Just one piece of advice towards the end here.
Uh-huh.
I recommend, having done this for so long, that if a person wants to stay current in their voting and not have to re-register from being dropped from the rolls, is vote at least once every 2 years in any election, even if it's for just one item. It keeps you current so long as you don't move. If you
Okay.
move, you need to inform elections department that you moved so they can get the correct card and precinct number on your card to you.
There you go. Good heads up. These people are going to be voting all the time. They won't have this 2-year gap, so you don't even have to worry about that. Well, thanks, Mike, for coming in, helping us understand how to vote in person, whether we vote early or the day of. And thanks for all your work. Appreciate it very much. Take care, y'all. And whatever you do, vote.